We now know Dak Prescott today as one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, leading a very talented Dallas Cowboy team, all while constantly dealing with the pressure that comes with being the quarterback for America's team. The road to the NFL for the successor of Tony Romo was not easy and in fact was met with a lot of hardship along the way. Born in Princeton, Louisiana, Dak turned out to be the youngest of 5 children. He'd go on and attend Haughton High School, where he was a two-way athlete, playing both linebacker and quarterback. Prescott, of course, found that the quarterback position was his true calling, which propelled him to success. In his senior year, Dak threw for over 2,800 yards, 39 touchdowns, and rushed for an additional 17 touchdowns on the ground while leading his team to an undefeated record in the district championship. His coaches, growing up, made a point to talk about how hardworking of a player that Prescott was coming up and knew that he was going to be something special. Even with all the success, accolades, and recognition as the top player in town, Dak Prescott came out to be a very under-recruited player with only a handful of opportunities to play at the next level. As a matter of fact, some colleges even wanted him to be a tight end or H-back, which narrowed down his choices even more. Now, having to decide whether to remain close to home in LSU or leave to go to Mississippi State, Prescott took his talents elsewhere to become a Bulldog. The college career for the star from Haughton began initially as a redshirt in 2011. The following year in 2012, while backing up Tyler Russell, Dak saw the field sparingly. Even though he appeared in all 12 games, he'd throw the ball less than 30 times for 194 yards and 4 touchdowns, while also rushing for another 4 on the ground. 2013 was another year that had him as a backup, but a concussion by Tyler Russell finally put Dak in the spotlight for the future of Mississippi State. He'd throw for just under 2,000 yards while having 13 rushing touchdowns to help lead the Bulldogs to a 44-7 win over Rice in the Rose Bowl. The bittersweet part of all of this is that he would lose his mother this year as well. Taking over as the starter in 2014 is where we see Prescott really start to kick things off into gear. Dak led the Bulldogs to their first ever #1 ranking in school history, while also breaking multiple school records in passing yards, total yards of offense, in both passing and total yards as well. And he'd top off his historic season with being an All-American honorable mention and finishing 8th place for the Heisman. While his senior year all-around wasn't as special as the year before, Prescott finished 3rd in SEC history in yards and 4th in touchdowns before finally declaring for the NFL draft. Many scouts liked his size, mobility, and even arm strength, but they noted how his accuracy and overall mechanics as a quarterback would keep him being a backup at best in the NFL. And other teams took note of that too, due to having 7 quarterbacks taken before him. After a failed attempt at getting both Paxton Lynch and Connor Cook, the Dallas Cowboys took Dak Prescott 135th overall in the 4th round of the draft. Initially, he was going to be developing behind Tony Romo, but his entire fate was changed at the snap of a finger. Injuries to just about every quarterback ahead of him on the depth chart continued to propel him closer to the starting spot, and after a detrimental back injury to Tony Romo that brought his career to an end, it was officially Dak Prescott's time in the spotlight. He'd become the first Cowboys rookie to start at quarterback since Quincy Carter in 2001. Despite not throwing his first touchdown pass until Week 3, the 2016 season all around was great while having rookie quarterback Dak Prescott with rookie running back Ezekiel Elliott in the same offense. While taking the Cowboys on a 10-game win streak after a Week 1 loss, Prescott was putting himself on the map with big wins versus the Packers and especially the Steelers. Throwing for 3,600 yards, 23 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions not only gave Prescott the Offensive Rookie of the Year award and a Pro Bowl selection, but it also helped the Cowboys go 13-3. This of course gave them a first-round bye in the NFC, which later led to Dak facing a seasoned Packers team in the playoffs. Usually rookie quarterbacks get exposed in the playoffs, and despite the Cowboys losing 34-31, Dak looked like a seasoned vet, throwing for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And with Tony Romo officially retiring shortly after the season, Dak Prescott was now officially the future for Dallas. Dak Prescott the following year was another quarterback who fell victim to a sophomore slump. This is where players who started their careers off great can't stay at that same level the following year, and this is exactly what happened in Prescott's case. All his passing numbers went down with an underperforming Dez Bryant and a 35-year-old Jason Witten, who was Dak's only Pro Bowl pass catcher. On top of this, Dak had to learn how to operate without having Ezekiel Elliott in his backfield, and that is where he truly struggled, which also killed the Cowboys' hopes of making the playoffs this season. With Zeke back healthy and receiver Amari Cooper now part of the offense, 2018 will be a bounce-back year for Prescott. Him and Cooper was an instant connection. This combo proved to help Dak set a new career high with 455 yards, 42 completions, 104.9 rating, and 3 touchdowns in an overtime win versus the Philadelphia Eagles later in the season. While being backed with a top 10 defense, Prescott threw for 3,800 yards and 22 touchdowns while leading the Dallas Cowboys to the playoffs once again and making the Pro Bowl for the second time in his career. Entering the playoffs, Dak now faced a Seattle Seahawks team that he was already 0-2 against, but on that day, it would change. Dak would do just enough to get over the Seahawks 24-22, but would unfortunately later fall to the Rams 30-22 as they went to the Super Bowl. 2019 saw Dak's highest passing marks of his career so far, reaching 400 yards passing 3 times. He opened the season with a perfect passer rating while throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns versus the Giants. Dak was off to a great start, but the Cowboys as a team was extremely inconsistent throughout the season. Despite throwing for over 4,900 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, and leading a 6th-ranked offense, the Cowboys wound up finishing 8-8. Very disappointing to say the least. By this point, Prescott clearly wanted a contract, but in the eyes of Dallas, they decided to put Dak on a franchise tag with $31 million by the start of the 2020 season. It would be made clear that Dak Prescott was basically the only thing this Cowboys team had going for them. He'd become the first player in NFL history to throw for 400 yards and rush for 3 touchdowns in the same game against a Falcons team who's known for blowing leads. Following this up, Dak became the first player in NFL history to throw for 450 yards in 3 straight games. His season would then be cut short because of an ugly ankle injury, and just like that, the Cowboys season was over as well. Being on pace for over 5,900 yards, though, proved to be enough for Dak to be given another franchise tag and then a 4-year, $160 million extension with a signing bonus of $66 million, which was also the highest in NFL history. The 2021 season has had some down points, but overall has been much better for Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys so far. By already surpassing the win total of 2020 and having a top record in the NFC, we could potentially see the Cowboys in the playoffs once again. All in all, being quarterback for America's team comes with a constant spotlight that's riddled with criticism from all over, and Dak Prescott of course has dealt with that ever since he replaced an injured Tony Romo. Dak has made strides as a quarterback and has become a top quarterback in the league and should be leading Dallas for many more years to come. What do you think? Thank you for watching the video. If you liked the video, like and comment how you think the rest of the 2021 season will go for Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, and if you think Dak will be any better than he is now, or could he end up on another team later down the road? And if you like me, subscribe.